Well, Happy New Year's Day for 2012. In response to a recent viewer's request who wanted to see a wide-scale view of the entire garden, I thought I would start out here at the water feature I told you I would show you on the past video. This is the Grand Canal running through Phoenix, Arizona. It also runs through Scottsdale and through the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Reservation and brings water from the mountains that I'm hoping you can see in the distance beyond the bell tower, which are 60 to 70 kilometers away, and yet you can see them because our skies are so clear here in Phoenix, Arizona. And keep in mind that this is the 5th largest city in the United States. Population of 3.5 million people. Half the population of Arizona live in the Phoenix metropolitan area, and our skies can be this beautiful on New Year's Day 2012. So the Grand Canal runs approximately 30 kilometers. It was actually dug by Native Americans. They figure perhaps almost 2,000 years ago, and they run by gravity flow across the valley, so they twist and turn with the lay of the land. But we are at approximately 1,100 feet above sea level, and I'm not going to go metric on this video. We will let those of you in the rest of the world do the conversion this time, so divide by roughly 3 or 2.9. And the canal runs on toward the west. It runs for another 16 or so kilometers off to the west. Phoenix was originally begun as a farming area, and the fertility of land was 3 times what it was in the southern United States, because even though it was arid, it had enough nutrients in the soil that all you had to do was put water on it, and it grew things like crazy. And the Native Americans do that. They think there were perhaps 100,000 people who lived here 2,000 years ago. And the way they found these canals was when they first dug some things on their own, they found the lime deposits, because we have very hard water with lots of dissolved minerals in it, which had stuck on the sides of the canals. And because, as I said before, our soil is 90% clay, these are just earthen walls, and they just seem to last almost forever because the water does not erode them, because it can't erode the clay so much. So the wonderful thing is that you are looking off towards 7th Avenue, off toward the mountain there. This part of the canal runs unobstructed for almost a kilometer, and the only access to it is from those 2 streets or from this alleyway, which, as you see the green wall and the car passing by here, this is the back of the house where I live. And you can see the new red roof that we got last year thanks to the hailstorm, and the utility pole that comes out of the roof, because the house was formerly owned by an electrician, so it has floodlights that will light up the entire yard. You can see the bougainvillea, I hope, in the tree right there that have grown up just since last winter when it froze back to the ground. And you see a small garden-style office complex here, which now has 2 antique stores in it. And the redwood fence here, and this is the garden, and here is your response for the wide-scale view. We sit on the corner of 9th Avenue and Campbell, so you could MapQuest that at 4501 North 9th Avenue and see the aerial view of it, which on most of the map programs is about 3 years old. You see the California pepper tree at the corner here, and the flowers growing up at the base of the light pole up here. And there's the greenhouse built onto the side. Not much has changed since a week ago, but it's a beautiful day. The temperature is 25 degrees centigrade here in Phoenix today, almost 80 degrees in Fahrenheit. And there is one new thing to show you at the top of the tall dead tree stump here. The first of the alyssum bloomed today, and you can see the tiny white flower there. And this is a bougainvillea, which will leaf out probably in about a month and a half's time. Here's the gaillardia again with another beautiful yellow flower here. And you can see the Bermuda buttercup flowers in yellow here, and the alyssum coming along. And this mound of Bermuda buttercups here, which has completely obscured the stone wall which is behind it, which is approximately 40 to 50 centimeters high. You can see the alyssum in the corner bed there where the tree is going dormant for the winter, past the tree stump there. And you can see that we have lots of leaves to contend with in the yard here, and have to hand pick them out of the beds, and you can see just a few of the beautiful red flowers left on the flowering pear tree here. And that's about as beautiful a red leaf as we get here in Phoenix in the wintertime. There's another one here. I'm hoping that you can see it if I get away from the shadow there. And the small plant, hopefully you can see here, is a sweet pea, and this is the first year that we've managed to get some of them started. There are 3 of them here coming along, and they should be growing up the stems of this tree here with beautiful multicolored flowers. The straw flowers here are coming along nicely, and they are about a month early from where they normally bloom, and so it's nice to see those. You can see that the ash tree bush here has lost almost all of its leaves now, revealing the bougainvillea plants that are here, and then there is a orange bougainvillea here which is yet to be put into the ground, and that's a project for the coming week or so. And we'll move to the front bed here, and we're hoping to see some baby blue eyes flowers coming from the plants that you see at the top of the wall here. And everything that's come up here has come up by itself. This is one bed that I did not plant. Everything that's here came up from seeds from last year or things that were scattered. And here's the pentagon-shaped bed at the corner. And I'm not sure if I mentioned before about the brick border that's in here that makes it into this 5-sided shape, but this involved cutting the ground down in some places and raising it up in others. And as I mentioned before, with the ground being like cement, that you have to wet it down and wait a day and a half. It was a very large job to get this done. Also digging out the grass, which has roots that go halfway to China as well. And almost all of the flowers that you see here are the scarlet flax, which will be blooming in red, and they will be a sight to behold soon. This is a dianthus here in the purple color. And what you saw a week ago, the orange Cape honeysuckle, is still just barely in bloom. It's about done. But it's interesting to see that the carnation in this next bed, these same flowers, have been blooming for a month, perhaps 5 or 6 weeks even here, and they're just now starting to fade. So we will close with a view of the orange tree in my next door neighbor's yard, which is only 4 meters away from my yard. The oranges start out green in the early part of the year, and they only turn color, like all citrus, as they're about to ripen. I had a cousin who came down to Florida from Virginia one year where I grew up, and she did not recognize what they were because they were not orange, they were all green during the summer when she was down there. So these are ready to pick, and it's one of the nice things about living in a southern climate in the United States is that you have the semi-tropical things that grow here, which even 100 kilometers north of this area would never grow. The mountains that you saw at the beginning, on a good day in the winter when it's snowed up north, you can actually see snow on those mountains. So you can actually be here in this beautiful weather and see snow on mountaintops. It's quite an unusual thing to live in Phoenix or in Florida. The red berries you're seeing here are at the corner of my neighbor's house, and they're really pretty in the sun today. These are called pyracantha. They have another name, which is firethorn, and they are absolutely beautiful. They have the same color as berries for holly, perhaps, maybe a little bit more orange. And so this is pyracantha. It has very sharp thorns, which if you spear one into you, can send you to the hospital to get it removed. So, on a beautiful day of blue sky here, 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 25 centigrade, we wish you once again Happy New Year from Phoenix, Arizona. And I'll close and show a view, I hope, of the yard from the opposite side from where we began. And so now we are looking toward the southeast and see the flower bed across the front and the bed across the front with the straw flowers. And if you can see above the rooftops the tall buildings of central Phoenix, that's another thing of the unique things to be in this part of town, is that you can see these buildings that are 20 stories high, even though you're in a small residential neighborhood. You just have to walk to the end of your driveway and see that the big city is right there, just a kilometer and a half away from you. So Happy New Year, everybody.